And I'm wondering, Representative Dean, if you would care to move that House Files 74 be referred to the Ways and Means Committee. The intent will also be to lay this bill over for possible inclusion in the omnibus bill.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Yes, I will move House File 74 to Ways and Means with the understanding that it may be laid over for possible
Thank you,
inclusion.
Chairman Dean. Representative Kudish-Padin, welcome back again, or welcome back again. Welcome back to the committee.
Thank you, Mr. Chair and members. Good to be back here again today. Unfortunately, it's always seems to be under a very sad situation. Today, I'm here to present to you House File 74, and this is a bill that eliminates the exclusion of fifth-degree criminal sexual assault for intentionally touching the clothing covering the immediate area of the buttocks with sexual or aggressive intent. Representative O'Neill mentioned that Minnesota tends to be in the lead when it comes to progressive ideas and implementing safety measures for our people, but unfortunately, there was this very intentional exclusion in the law, and we need to do everything we can this year to make sure that that is included as misdemeanor. This came to me and to my Senator Lane last year. One of our constituents was accosted at the gym, and if you don't mind, I'm going to read her statement. She was not able to be here with us today, and so this is her statement. On November 4th, 2017, I was with my husband as well as our 5 kids at our local Lifetime Fitness Center, eating lunch and getting our kids ready for their swim lessons. While my husband was finishing cleaning up our lunch, I waited outside of the cafe with our children, ages 8, 7, 6, 4, and 1 at the time. As I was standing there holding my baby and talking with my older kids, a man walked up behind me and fully groped my buttocks. He continued to walk past, only glancing back for a second to smirk at me, and continued to walk toward the exit of Lifetime. I was frozen between chasing this guy down or getting my kids to their swimming lessons. This was the first set of lessons for our family after a traumatic, near-drowning accident after the summer. I chose to continue on with the lessons, and I would contact the police and Lifetime management after the lessons were completed, since the man looked to be leaving the premises. After we completed our lessons, I approached the Lifetime manager to report what had happened and discuss whether their course of action is in this type of situation. I was then informed that the man that I was reporting had not only groped me, but 4 other women at Lifetime in that one day. One of the incidents involved him walking into the women's locker room. The manager informed me that the perpetrator had been arrested and was in Fridley police custody. I called the police myself after arriving home to report my incident and drove down to the station to give a taped statement of what had happened to me. They asked if I would make an ID via photo lineup, which I was unable to make, having only seen his face for a split second while he was walking away from me. I asked if they would be able to get the video footage from Lifetime and use that coverage to press charges. I was told that I would need to talk to the investigating officer. I spoke with the investigating officer the next day to inquire if she would be able to acquire the video footage and I could provide exact time and location when the assault happened. She informed me that it didn't really matter, and this is when it gets important, because the man in custody would only be charged with 1 count of disorderly conduct because of the ways that the laws are written in the state of Minnesota. This prompted me to start looking into the way that the law is written regarding criminal sexual misconduct, and I was appalled to find that there is a specific exclusion in the criminal sexual misconduct in the 5th degree statute stating that, but does not include the intentional touching of the clothing covering the immediate area of the buttocks. All other areas of the criminal sexual misconduct code state that sexual contact includes the touching of intimate parts, and buttocks included, over the clothing or whatever. Unfortunately, this experience at Lifetime, which was not my first experience with sexual assault, and I can tell you that being groped on the buttocks is just as demeaning, violating, and traumatizing as the other forms of assault that I have endured. But our law does not reflect that sentiment. If this exclusion were not in place, this man at Lifetime would have been charged with 5 counts of criminal sexual misconduct in the 5th degree in just one day, and not 1 count of disorderly conduct. A slap on the wrist as far as the law is concerned. While researching the criminal sexual misconduct laws, I discovered that this exclusion had been in place since the law was enacted in 1988. So it was very intentionally excluded at that point. Now, almost 30 years later, our laws should reflect what we know to be true. A non-consensual groping of the buttocks is sexual assault. It is time we change this law and make sure that the punishment fits the crime. The day that I was assaulted in November, I took time to pray that this horrendous act would somehow be used for good. I would never have imagined that I would have had the opportunity to share with our lawmakers my story, and hopefully help enact change. I can say wholeheartedly, I am thankful for what I have endured to just be able to bring this issue to your attention. Respectfully submitted, Jessica Goodwin. So this bill came up last year. It was heard both in the House, where it passed with full consensus, as well as in the Senate. Got caught up in those omnibus bills and didn't get passed. And so we're here today to once again ask you to make this law full, make this woman whole, and not to dismiss what she has gone through, as well as those other 4 women in just one day, and to send that message to those perpetrators that this is not acceptable and you will be held accountable to the full extent of the law.
Thank you, Representative. And we did post Ms. Goodwin's statement also on the committee webpage as well.
Thank you.
But thank you for sharing that. 2 questions I want to call on Chair Johnson, relative to, particularly relative to the actions last year, which you can tell us about, the intent and the support and anything else you think would be helpful at this point.
Mr. Chair, first of all, I want to thank Representative Kudish-Padin for bringing this bill back. It was a good bill put forward by a representative who's unfortunately no longer here. But it's a very important issue that we do need to take care of. I want to thank you for bringing this forward and fully support it. And it was in the omnibus bill last year.
Thank you, and thank you for your work on this last year, Chairman Johnson. Representative Mueller.
Mr. Chair, Representative Kunesh-Podein, thank you so much for being here today, and please pass on our appreciation to Ms. Goodwin for providing this statement and her courage in coming forward with this. And I just wanted to let members know that this is something that I've also seen in my career as a prosecutor. There was a man at the state fairgrounds that had done this a number of years ago in a case that we tried to prosecute, and again, he was able to escape liability because the law is written this way. So this is certainly not just a one-time thing. Thank you.
Thank you.
Chairman Lesh.
Thank you, Mr. Chair and Representative Kunesh-Padin. And this may have been a mistake because I know you were reading her testimony, but the statement was that if we had changed this, he would have been charged with 5 counts of criminal sexual conduct, not 1 count of disorderly conduct. And what I can't figure out is why they couldn't have stacked the 5 counts of disorderly conduct and then just stack the sentences on top of it. Like, was there, what county was this in, you know?
Thank you, Chair. Representative Lesh, I believe it was in Fridley, so that would have made it Anoka County. Why they didn't do it that way, I really can't tell you. I wish I knew.
Okay, well, thank you. And Mr. Chair, some of the questions we have on this, there is the tendency to, affix the reason for a particular injustice, which she certainly experienced in this situation. I had the same, I won't disclose from who, but a woman I know very well went through a similar situation at the Y holding a child with some creepy dude that I wish I knew who he was, but he skedaddled off. It's just the most ridiculous thing ever. Point being, that these things need to be gone after. Even without this law, we need to go after these and stack the disorderly conduct counts. And maybe they said, well, we can't identify those other four or something like that, but we need to, because, you know, and even if we change the law, people could still get away with it if we can't identify and get jurisdiction over the people in these situations too. So I just, I'm a little irritated about when justice goes unaddressed in situations like this and people get away with it. I know what I want to do to these guys, but the law does not allow that. So you're bringing this, and I appreciate that, and thank you.
You're welcome.
Representative O'Neill, I'm looking at you because you and I have had some conversations in general about the importance of changing the culture in our society. And this particular act for me really, because it's thought of, unfortunately, as norm behavior. So we quote unquote tolerated it for so long. And that results in reinforcing a culture here that I think the evidence is increasingly telling us leads to even more egregious victimization. Representative O'Neill.
Thank you for pointing that out. And that should be a theme that we're going to talk about continually through this session and maybe even into the next, about changing culture. And I made it a very passionate plea, particularly to the men that were buyers of sex, and how that is actually feeding the sex trade, which is, you know, fueling the loss of particularly Indigenous people, but many vulnerable children, whether they're in foster care, because the targeted group is that 12, 13, 14, 15-year-old boy or girl. So yes, we absolutely need to take a stand. I think if there's nothing else that comes out of this session, but we begin to change culture, I'm satisfied with, you know, obviously we have to pass a budget too, but out of this committee, if we actually begin to shift the needle of respecting our fellow human being. And I actually have an incident that happened to my own daughter regarding this, and she still has not received justice. She was standing at a bus stop buying a ticket, and there was a small group of adult men and women nearby, and she made note of them and was sort of watching them to see what was going to happen next, turned her back to buy the ticket. Next thing she knows, she's being hit as hard as this person could possibly hit her on her buttocks, and laughing the whole way. And she was terrified because she's like, well, what happens now? You know, like, what are they trying to do? So she did what we Daniels women do. That's, you know, my brother Daniels. Brian Daniels, she stared them down instead of engaging verbally. To her credit, she didn't engage because who knows what would have happened then, but she reported, it was on video because she was right in front of one of the terminals where she was buying a ticket, and so the video was there. She went and reported it to transit police. I had a conversation with then Chief Harrington because they weren't really taking a lot of action. And part of it is because we have this exclusion. And she said, I felt incredibly sexually violated. Yes, it was a girl, but it was a whole bunch of boys there egging her on. So it's not just men perpetrating this. It's this culture of disrespect of another human being. And my experience that with my own, you know, then 21-year-old daughter just trying to buy a bus ticket. So it's a pervasive issue, and I really appreciate the fact that you pointed that out, and that one of our goals of the committee in this session is to begin to shift that needle and change culture, because that's really what will do tremendous good for the state of Minnesota. So thank you.
Thank you. I agree, Representative O'Neill. Members, we are at the time of adjournment, and so the chair will lay House File. First of all, thank you, Representative Kunesh-Podein, for bringing us this bill.
Thank you.
The chair will lay House File 74 on the table for possible inclusion in the omnibus bill.